Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Thanks a lot again, still getting plenty of good messages. I don't know whether you're all just being polite and sending me nice messages, but either way, fantastic. It's certainly keeping me going, keeping my enthusiasm up on doing these videos. So yeah, absolutely thanks for all the support. Please carry on sharing the video as well to get it a bit more traction out there. This video, obviously it's the start of the 2021 season. Had a clutch of eggs last week. This is my first, probably my earliest clutch of eggs, certainly for the last 6 years. Only by about a week, but even so. So this video is going to be about what I'm using for substrate for setting up eggs. Plenty of videos out there on vermiculite and suspended egg incubation. I use perlite, and I'll show you why and talk you through what I actually do to use it. Enjoy the video. Please like, share and subscribe, and hit that notification button. Got the hang of that now. So yeah, let's get straight on and enjoy. Okay, so straight on to what I do here for setting up eggs. Pretty much 3 methods for incubating eggs. Vermiculite, tried and tested, used for many years in the reptile hobby. Perlite, again, been used for a long time in the reptile hobby. And then suspending your eggs in some way above the water, I guess you'd call it suspended incubation. Again, been running quite a long time. I think I was probably the first in the UK to be running this for ball pythons, but literally it's just a copy on from monitor eggs and Gila monster eggs from in the early days. Eggs that took a long time to hatch. People realised that it was very difficult to get the water levels right, so they kept the eggs off the substrate, and it's pretty much an idiot-proof way of incubating eggs. So 3 methods. I've tried all 3. They all have advantages. They all have disadvantages. They all have a different level of margin of error, shall we say. The most difficult substrate for incubation is vermiculite. You need to get that really spot on. Any errors on there, because your eggs are in contact with the vermiculite, the water wicks, transfers very quickly through to the eggs, and if you're too wet, you'll lose your eggs. Perlite, kind of similar. I use perlite now, but you've got slightly more tolerance in that because most of the water drops down to the bottom. The perlite isn't as absorbent as vermiculite, so the water generally sits down at the bottom, but can still, if you've got too much water, it can still transverse up to the eggs. And obviously the third method would be a tub of water with an egg crate or filter matting in there, anything to raise the eggs off whatever your method is. So you can use water, vermiculite, perlite, but then you have a plastic tray or Japanese filter matting just to lift your eggs off. That actually is pretty much idiot proof. If you use the filter matting method, so suspended incubation, it's almost impossible to kill your eggs there with too much water. In fact, it is impossible unless you put your eggs in the water. I was using that about 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. I used it for 2 or 3 seasons, but as my clutch numbers were going up, cutting up all that matting for the extra tubs every year, it was just getting too much work. And also the cleaning of the matting at the end of the season, all your contents of your egg, as it would hatch out, would seep through into the matting, and it's quite a difficult item to clean. So I dropped out of that. I sold my incubator that had all that on, and decided to change over and go back to perlite. Perlite, very simple. I use a very deep egg box. I try and found the deepest box I could get with a smaller footprint, because most clutches are pyramided up, and then I actually built the incubator to fit my tubs. So I think I've now got about 300 of these tubs, so hopefully just enough. So these are, the incubator is built to fit around the tubs to get the maximum use out of the space I had for the incubator. I use 3 litres of perlite in the bottom, so it gives me about a 2 inch depth. Just about see there. So it gives me a 2 inch depth of substrate in there, and then all I do is 250 millilitres of water, just tipped in. This is the kind of cooking I enjoy. Very simple. Lid on, and then just give it a real good shake up. You should find that if you've got the mix right, it shouldn't clump up, unlike vermiculite. It should be pretty much still very loose sort of substrate. The only thing you'll notice really different is the weight of the tub has gone up. So 250 millilitres of water and 3 litres of substrate of perlite goes in. With regards to adding your water in there and getting your mix right, depending on the box you're using, the tub you're using, you might actually lose water during the incubation process. So you can always top up your water. What's sometimes a good idea is at the start of the season is to always have a tub of water in your incubator at the right temperature. So 2 things. One is if you've got your mix slightly too dry, you can add more water in there at the right temperature, nice and easy. You don't have to mess around with getting the temperature right. And also, as I do at the moment, I have about 4 of these filled up in the incubator at the moment. So I've always got enough water to set clutches up, ready to go. Normally I'd set maybe 10 of these up in a go, but that way I've always got the water at the right temperature. With regards to adding water, you're far better off having to add water to a tub than panicking and thinking, how can I take water back out? If you set an incubation tub up without enough water in your mix, you will notice pretty quick. If you keep an eye on your eggs over the first week to 10 days, you'll notice pretty quick if you haven't got enough water in there. You'll get a little bit of shrivel on the eggs. What you should be aiming for, if you take the lid off, very, very, very light condensation, not heavy, just a very light condensation in the tub, and obviously your eggs fully formed, no sinking at all. If you're finding that doesn't seem to be enough water in there, it's very easy just to add a small cup of water back in there. If on the other hand you've set your tubs up with too much water, and I've seen it all over Facebook and social media, people asking what's happening to my eggs, they're turning green. Well, that's basically good eggs turning bad because they've got too wet. Normally by the time you've realised your eggs are too wet, you've already lost the eggs. Really, really difficult to recover eggs that have got too wet. Basically you've drowned the eggs, and there's, as I say, almost impossible to actually recover from there unless you've spotted it right at the start. Yeah, I mean that's about it really. Too dry is better than too wet. You can recover from too dry. The absolute worst case scenario is you've killed them, but that is quite difficult. You've got a big margin of error there to actually recover from that and put some water in. If, however, you was a little bit too dry for the whole of the incubation period, the worst you'll get for babies at hatch is they'll possibly be smaller than what you'd normally expect. So again, it's a slight inconvenience. It means you start off with slightly smaller babies, but at least you start off with babies. As I say, too wet, you will kill them. Another thing I see people panicking all the time, and again I will try and do another video this year to show you a bit of evidence to support this. Bad eggs. Yes, it's absolutely good practice to not put infertile eggs in your substrate in your incubation box. Good practice. It's just an unnecessary bit of dirt. You'll get flies, whatever. But ultimately, bad eggs do not kill good eggs. One bad egg sitting in a clump of good eggs, as long as you've set your substrate up correctly, bad eggs will not actually affect and kill good eggs. I'll try and dig some photos out, so I know I've got some photos somewhere and add up maybe there. So yes, if you can, remove an egg that you see going bad. Obviously if you can, don't put the egg in there in the first place if it's infertile or a slug. But what I would say is don't rip a clutch to pieces if they're tightly formed, trying to remove bad eggs, because you've got more chance of actually damaging and risking the eggs if you don't know what you're doing while you're trying to separate the eggs, rather than let that bad egg just go off, go rotten, maybe remove it a bit later on when it's got to a more decomposed state. But bad eggs do not kill good eggs. That's kind of it really, so fairly quick video. As I say, my chosen substrate is perlite. Vermiculite is probably the hardest one to get right. Suspended egg incubation is the absolute easiest. Perlite is somewhere in between, but as long as you get your mix right, you shouldn't have any problems. Yeah, that's it. So let's see what happens with the next few clutches. Thanks a lot. Good luck with your season. Hope it's all going well. Take care and see you next time. Okay, so welcome to the special part of the video, the bit that seems to get all the views. To be fair, I'm guessing that there's no point putting the original part of the videos in. It looks like everybody's skipping straight to the end for the adverts. Anyway, so not to disappoint, or slightly disappointing, the product that we did have lined up for this week sadly is still not ready. Well, you'll see when it's revealed, but it's kind of quite a lot of work going into this one. Anyway, so something a bit different, obviously ready for this year, this breeding season. I decided to offer some special equipment. Now I see lots and lots of videos. Everybody seems to want to post up an egg cutting video. Yes, we do cut eggs here sometimes. Not every clutch, very few clutches overall, but we do have our own special tools for cutting eggs. So I thought I'd offer an opportunity for anybody who would like to use the same equipment as what we use here. So let me introduce the Scott Wilkinson Reptile egg knife. So you have to be very careful with this knife. Extremely sharp, but it's very effective. Okay, sorry about that. As you can see, it's pretty sharp. Lucky enough, I had one of the stickers from last time round, so yeah, no problem at all. Back up and running in 20 seconds. Okay, welcome back. Yes, so as I was saying, this knife is extremely sharp, but very effective. Just a quick swish with the knife and yeah, you're done cutting your eggs. You can pretty much cut all your eggs in one go with this. So as I say, it's all about saving time and being efficient with everything you do. So big knife, hard swing, and yeah, you can cut pretty much anything. Recommend you have a good supply of plasters when you're using this, unless you've had full-on training. But anyway, yeah, so if you're after the Scott Wilkinson egg cutting knife, send me a message. These are available for the incredible price of just £499. Collection only. Collection will have to be on Tuesdays between 9:30 and 10:30. You will need ID. That's it, yeah. So anyway, I will be featuring an egg cutting video of how exactly to cut eggs. I don't think there's any particularly good ones out there at the moment. So yeah, that's it. So thanks a lot. See you next time.